first of all, make sure that the dough is not cold, because if you're trying to stretch dough which is cold, it's gonna fight you back a lot, and you might have a quite hard time. So yeah, let's start shaping. The hardest part, opening the box. There we go. Once the dough is room temperature, it will be quite sticky to the touch. To prevent the stickiness when you shape the pizza dough, just be gentle with the flour the surface. Then what's the top of the dough, flour that as well. Then you can use your fingers to dig the dough out. Again, the dough is quite full of air, so just be careful not to pop any of the bubbles as long as you like Neapolitana style pizza. Once you get the dough quite loose, it should just drop onto the surface, but you might need to give it a helping hand. There we go. So this is the bottom of your dough. You want to flour it as well, and just with your hands flip the dough upside down. And yeah, once you got your dough here, you're gonna feel it's quite nice and airy. You might see some bubbles. Personally, I do like to keep them to get that nice rustic look. So everything you want to do, all you want to do now is start pushing all these bubbles from the center to the edge. Yeah? And as you're doing that, the dough will start forming into a bit of a circle. Yeah, so I like to work away from myself. You don't want to make the center too thin, because then it might break or get a hole as you're stretching. Yeah, so you'll see it will start increasing in size. Now, given you have a lot of flour, nothing sticks and it's quite easy to work with. So that's the first thing you want to do. Once you get this size circle, you can up your game with stretching. I like to do two techniques. Not sure what they're called, but they seem to work. First one, you take your fingers, you kind of dig it under the dough where the rim is, and you gently pull it. As you pull it, you flip the dough into the overhand and just rotate it. And just keep doing that, using your fingers. Keep pulling the dough, which is kind of like a gentle motion. But what's happening as you're working with the dough, you will see it starts getting bigger and bigger. As every time I just gently pull it, flip, pull, flip. And as you can see, all these bubbles were pushed to the edge, to the rim. It's going to create a wonderful crust. There we go. And as you can see, as I'm working through, keep pulling the dough, being quite gentle. And the dough is getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. At some point, you might be happy with the size, and that's fine. But you realize the center is quite thin and the rims are still quite thick. If you like thick crust, that's fine. But to stretch it even further, I like to use the second technique, when you're kind of like using more gravity to get the dough stretched. All you do, if the dough is dry and no carbon flour, that's fine. But at this stage, you might need to put more flour. Second technique, you want to lift the dough and just rest it on both of your hands. And as you got that, the bottom of the dough stretching down. But what you can do is stretch the rim a little bit, and you can even rest it on your forearm, yeah, to get more surface and support. And again, same as the previous technique, you just keep working through the dough and stretching the rim a bit more, which might be slightly thicker than you would like. Yeah, and again, just working through a circle. Keep supporting the dough, as the middle will be quite thin and might tear. If it does, not a problem, you can patch it. But yeah, you can keep going, yeah, and just fill the dough. It will allow you to stretch it. Hopefully, if it doesn't, you might need to give it a bit of a rest. Yeah, but then keep going. Once you're happy with the size, there you go. Just drop it. And yeah, this is how you stretch. You can see what I've managed to do is get the middle quite thin and the sides, and pushed all the bubbles to the edges. Yeah, just gonna create nice Neapolitan like crust. And I will show you a shot after bake. But for now, once you get the dough ready, you can get like a homemade pizza pill, which is just a piece of plywood with some baking paper. Then you can, you know, transfer the dough onto the paper. Once you got it on the paper, stretch it out to, you know, desired size, round, oval, square. Yeah. And yeah, add your toppings and get into the oven. Yep. Yeah. And after 12 minutes in the oven, here's the pizza. Yeah. We personally like slightly Napolitano style crust with a lot of bubbles. That's why, you know, when you push the, you know, bubbles to the side, you can get, you know, really nice rustic looking pizza like this. Yeah. And yeah, time for dinner.